Hello, everyone. I'm Sherry, here to talk about Be an Ally with me. So, first thing first, you might wonder, who is me? I was born and raised in Taipei, Taiwan, grew up in Calgary, Alberta, and now work in Toronto, Ontario. Throughout my life, I wore many different hats, took many different titles, even though I work in the tech industry and am very technical. My most recent titles are not technical at all. They're more people facing. I was trained to be a software developer and worked as a developer for more than 6 years, and eventually moved up to leadership roles in recent years. I am now a program lead and instructor for a private college of tech called Juno College of Technology. As a woman of color in tech, I found the need to speak and find proper mentorship um, and become the role model for others alike. I am an active community volunteer for many groups, including Women Takemaker. Women Takemaker Montreal 2020 was supposed to be my first public speaking opportunity to a greater audience. Though I don't get to speak to all of y'all in person, I am online with y'all virtually. This may be the biggest audience that I could ever have, right? So let's move on and see what we're going to learn today. I've summed up today's talk with questions. What is Ally? What are some tools to assist us? What is the checklist to make sure we're being a good ally? We will walk through some example and put some application to the test to check how accessible are you. After the demonstration, I will ask you, are you an ally now? And lead to more questions if there are any. Before we move on, I need to share this disclaimer. This is not a guideline for best practice. This is not an industry standard, and this is not yet another framework. Okay, so what is Ally? Ally stands for accessibility. They are the same. For us, we want to focus on web accessibility because we are mostly developers. Ally is a pneumonym from the word accessibility with the sum of the letter A and Y to equal 11. The reason for creating this pneumonym is because Twitter has character limitations. And to amplify accessibility, we need to be involved in social media. You can often hear ally pronounced as A11y, and here we said ally. If you could use the whole word accessibility, then use it. Unless otherwise, use ally to save the space. Web accessibility is essentially striving for web for all. Accessibility not only benefits those in need, but also everyone else. This is called the curb cut effect. When the curb cut was first implemented, they were made for wheelchair accessibility. Then we later found that the curb cut also helps parents with strollers, elders with trouble walking, and babies with a hard time getting up to the curb. If we could build with the web for all mindset, it can benefit everyone. For more information, please visit the Ally Project. This is an open source project run by the community with some incredible developers behind it. The World Health Organization, WHO, stated, Disability is not just a health problem, it is a complex phenomenon reflecting the interaction between features of a person's body and features of a society in which he, she, or they live. Which to say, disability comes in all sizes and forms. Web accessibility is not only to support the visually impaired and limited mobility, but also for those with network connection issues and those struggling with mental health. So, what are some of the tools that could help us be a better ally? There are various browser extensions that could help. For example, Chrome has a list of accessibility extensions. As you can see, you can install these to help you become a better ally. Firefox also have a list of add-ons. If you search for accessibility, they have lots of tools to help you to become a better developer. Some of them is accessibility tools that helps those who needs these tools. And your operation system actually supports accessibility. If we take a look at Apple's accessibility section on their website, we see that they have one dedicated space for Mac, iPad, iPhone, TV, so on and so forth. Microsoft also has various accessibility support. Under their products, they show Windows, Office Suite, and even on Xbox. There are hardware limitations to some. We usually don't think about hardware limitation, but the tools that we use for hardware simulation can help us get to those hardware limitations and make sure that we cover the solution for those hardware limitations. When we use a hardware simulation, we could put ourselves into a personnel. For example, your OS system supports voiceover. Therefore, I can announce everything that happens in my desktop and tell me what I am navigating through. Another thing is to roleplay. Roleplay is a great way to create persona and navigate on their behalf. If you have the budget to, it's even nicer to have a focus group with various capabilities to test your product. Now that we have all the tools that we could possibly get our hands on, what is the checklist that will make sure we check all the boxes when we are doing an accessibility audit? First, with visually impaired, the highest attainable level of conformance is AAA with color contrast, level at 7:1 ratio. Here in Canada, we have to comply to Web Content Accessibility Guideline, the WCAG 2.0 to the AA level. There are many websites out there that will help you check if you pass the color contrast test. A really good example is WebAIM. WebAIM shows what is a really good color contrast shows you the color contrast ratio, and you're more than welcome to check those colors if you like. I usually also have the font size to start at 18 points, just to make sure that that is a really good size to work with. That's also like a really good practice to get into, that your text is not too small. And the third things I watch for in under visually impaired is audible. We want to make sure that things in the web page is audible, and we could make sure that there is no additional information being voiced over. With limited mobility, the user experience design is very important here. I consider simple layout, consistent button size, and limited animation. If it is a web application, always check if it is tabbable, meaning you can navigate without a mouse and strictly with only your keyboards. Last but not least, locale. As you can see earlier with Google extension, for accessibility, the first result is Google Translate. I live in a bilingual country, so it's important to serve both English and French. And this varies by location and user base. Living in a first world country, we don't often think about having network limitation. There are countries in the world that have limited bandwidth in their infrastructure, and loading heavy application might be difficult. Think of creative ways to load your application piece by piece. I, as a developer, may have the latest and greatest computer setup and mobile phone, but we also need to consider those with older computers and smaller mobile screens. I personally made this checklist so I could have a starting point, and everything else more are considered edge cases. Remember, something is better than nothing, and there is always room for improvement. For more information, please see the WK website for standards, which you can see in here. There is a very thorough list of guidelines that you could follow. Now that we have the checklist, let's put some application to the test. I call the triple W as the wild web, because it is wild. It is wild for me. I have 3 sites that I would like to put to the test. Flipboard is an online collection of content through magazines, news outlet, web blogs, and social media. The Slack app, web app. Slack is pretty proud of their accessibility team and has a multiple year plan in place to create Slack for all. Google Maps, I can't live without Google Maps. I'm interested to put this one to the test just for my own personal gain, just in case anything happens, you know? If we open Flipboard in our Chrome, we see that Flipboard is fairly simple. Looks like it's made mobile first. And we can get into the detail by going into our dev tool. Under the dev tool, we have audit, we're going to use Lighthouse, which is an auditing tool for accessibility. And in this tool, for demonstration purposes, we're only going to check accessibility. And we're going to check desktop. And maybe it's not showing on the screen. I'm going to move it up a little bit. There you go, desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and hit generate report. It's going to go through the website, check out every single feature, make sure it is up to code. We got 90 points. This seems like a great score. There are a few concerns, few alerts, and you can go ahead and click on them to see what are some of the details that you could improve in your website. So this is pretty sufficient. It's cool. It's telling me that I failed to have a label for an input. That's important. That's important for accessibility. All right. Let's check out another example with Firefox. So same thing, open Flipboard in Firefox. And if I open up the Dev tool here, under accessibility, I will have to turn on the accessibility feature. And for checking issues, I want all issues. This includes contrast, keyboard, text label. And it will again check for everything. Now, I feel Firefox has a more extensive check. For example, it gives me a nice ratio, tells me that this contrast is not good enough. And for keyboard, it also tells me that interactive element must be focusable. So perhaps this search Flipboard input button isn't focusable. And there is no visible text label. That's a really nice warning. So it has alert and warning. Amazing. So there's also a quick tip in your dev tools. Under network, for both Chrome and Firefox, you could also simulate a slower network. So for Firefox, it's under this no throttling, but you could also simulate other network environment and check out if your website is loading correctly or appropriately. Overall, we find Flipboard seems like a passing website for accessibility. Pretty cool. Next up, we have the Slack web app. With Slack web app, we're going to approach it with a role play. And here we have a user story. Casey are visually impaired and uses Slack as a method to communicate with the WTM Montreal group. One of the members mentioned that there are some interesting conversation in the random channel. Casey wants to join the channel and reply to the conversation. So we're going to turn on voiceover to become Casey. So I'm going to go into System Preferences, Accessibility, and turn on voiceover.
Voiceover on System Preferences, Accessibility window, Accessibility features table, voiceover. selected as keyboard focus. You are currently on a table. To enter this table, press Control, Option, Shift, down arrow.
So this is VoiceOver on a desktop. I am going to navigate to the channel.
Chrome, Slack vertical line talk underscore B underscore N underscore A11y underscore with underscore me vertical line WTMMO NTREAL 2020. Google Chrome, Sherry, window, message number talk underscore B underscore N underscore A11y underscore with underscore me. Edit, leaving Slack. Close button. You are new tab button, back button. Reload, home, view site, app, send this bookmark, Sherry, Chrome, button, leaving Slack, team menu button. Channel talk underscore B underscore notifications selected talk underscore B under start show mem show edit shift group call show detail setting search show activity show starred items more item leaving Slack talk underscore B underscore leaving navigation entering speakers introduce yourself general group list channels and direct messages 11 items channels group press CMD Shift L to find or create a channel. You are currently on a group.
This button. And this is difficult for someone who is visually impaired to wait for the button that tells me, wait for the announcement, the annunciation to tell me that the button is coming. So I have to imagine myself being in the space where I don't know the design, but I am only trusting the voice. So in here, if I use the spacebar or enter.
Browse channels dialog with 2 items. Search channels, edit text.
I will be able
You are currently on a text field inside of a dialog. To enter text in this field, type. To exit this group, press Control, Option, Shift, up arrow.
So I know that I'm in a text box.
R-O-M. You are currently on a text field inside of a dialog. To enter text in this field, type. To exit this group, press Control, Option, Shift, up arrow.
I will be able to type in random.
Leaving list box. Entering browse channels dialog with 2 items about channels. Create random. Leaving list box. Entering Slack. Talk underscore B underscore N underscore A11y underscore with underscore me. WTMMO NTREAL 2 channels. Group list channels and direct messages 9 items. Press CMD Shift L to find or create a channel. You are currently on a group channels. Group. Menu pop link. Add share start more actions. Mech link. Add reaction press R but share mess start more action. Link. Mech link. Add share stop more actions. Link. Menu pop up link. Add react share mess star met more act join see more details button. You are currently on a button. To click this button, press Control Option Space.
And if we do join this channel.
Join channel at message number random edit text new line insertion at beginning of text.
This is
you are currently on a text area
that I can say hi everyone.
E exclamation mark. You are currently on a text area. Space
This is a test from
space E exclamation mark.
There we go.
Hi everyone. This is a test from me. New line. Chrome has new window. Zoom.us. System dialog.
So
mute
let's
button.
shut this off.
System preferences. Accessibility window. Accessibility voiceover off.
As you can see, it could be quite cumbersome for Casey to navigate to within Slack, and even just the simplest tasks that we think that could, it's pretty simple to get to, it is a hard task for Casey using only voiceover. So to be honest, Slack could be better, but it is also hard to be in their shoes to understand what it's like to use a messaging service with voiceover. So next up, we have Google Maps. We also have a user story for Google Maps. Kim is colorblind and is looking for recommendation of good coffee places around her with Google Maps on mobile. This is great. To simulate Kim's experience, I am going to share this tool with you called Color Oracle. So Color Oracle um, is an application that you can download locally to your desktop. And once you have this set up, you will be able to check out different things. So once I have this set up, I can go ahead and open Color Oracle up. And I'm actually going to nudge my share window up a little bit so you can see my tab. There with Color Oracle, there are 3 kinds of color blindness, which are very hard to pronounce. I believe it is deuteranopia, which is someone who cannot see green. Pro Protanopia is someone who cannot see red. And tritanopia, it's someone who has problem seeing blue. They have these simulation for you to experience what's it like to be them. So think about it as putting on different lenses, and we're going to simulate this, using this to simulate our environment and be able to be Kim. And we're going to open up Google Maps with Firefox. So with this, I know I am looking for coffee. So I can click on this button, populate the map, perfect. And then I am going to turn on each lenses to see what's like to be them. So deuteranopia sees no greens. So the red is it's no longer visible, and it's blending in with like some of the other colors for lands. And if we take a look at protanopia, it's a bit more obvious with the red because I can't see red. So it sort of just turns into like black, almost black or dark grayish. Notice that the coffee on the left-hand side is changing. And if we go to tritanopia, ooh, wow. If Kim has tritanopia, um, she will see things in pink, which is pretty amazing. So tritanopia is the inefficiency to see blue. So we will be able to see pink instead. And most likely everything is pink and blue. And that I kind of don't mind if I have tritanopia, but apparently this is very rare, extremely rare. Fantastic. I think Google Maps team thought this through and chose their colors very carefully, because this is an application that has a lot of images, and they need to make sure that it is ready for everyone. Now that we have seen these demonstrations, are you an ally now? And I would like to ask you if you are an ally now. What we thought the best isn't always the best. The tools you could use are limited, and the checklist is just the bare minimum. The checklist that I created is simply the bare minimum. We always have to remember that we need to put on another pair of shoes in another land and be in another environment to experience our product. Right now, with COVID-19, we're all experiencing network issues, limited mobility, and stretching our mental health. Now that I am involved in training new talents to join the workforce, I have the responsibility to teach them the standard in the industry. Accessibility is such an easy feature to forget. Better yet, it should not be a feature. It should be a default. Often, what is made for accessibility often helps every other person, such as the curb cut effect. If we acknowledge that there are various types of people in this world, then we should create for all of them. We are all a part to make the internet a better place, just like we are all responsible to take care of Mother Nature. Thank you so much for watching this talk with me. If you have any question, now is the time.